61 Senate votes for landmark gay marriage, but Lady G votes no. The Senate on Tuesday evening approved historic legislation that provides federal protections for same-sex marriages, moving the measure closer to President Biden's desk for his signature in the final weeks of the Democratic-controlled Congress. The bill, called the Respect for Marriage Act, passed the evenly divided upper chamber 61-36, with 11 Republicans joining their Democratic colleagues in support of the proposal. It needed 60 votes to pass. Republican Ben Sasse from Nebraska, Republican Patrick J. Toomey from Pennsylvania, and Democrat Raphael Warnock from Georgia did not vote. The legislation garnered support from a wide margin of GOP senators after it was amended to include provisions protecting religious liberty. The bill also protects interracial marriage. Before proceeding to the final passage of the marriage equality bill, senators rejected 3 amendments proposed by Republican Senators Mike Lee of Utah, James Lankford of Oklahoma, and of course, Marco Rubio of Florida. With the approval by the upper chamber, the marriage equality plan returns to the House for a vote, and if cleared by the Democratic-led chamber, as expected, will head to Mr. Biden to be signed into law. The White House supports the Respect for Marriage Act and has encouraged its passage by Congress. President Biden spoke on this crucial development, saying, quote, "I'm grateful to the determined members of Congress, especially Senators Baldwin, Collins, Portman, Sinema, Tillis, and Feinstein, whose leadership has underscored the Republicans and Democrats together's their support of the essential right of LGBTQIA+ and interracial couples to marry," end quote. Notably, Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, who is called Lady G by male escorts who claim to have been employed by him, voted against it. Well, this is big news. The vote was going on last night in the middle of Queer News Tonight, and so this is our official reporting of the passage. It's very important because the federal protections, a lot of people in the community today are still critical, smarting that it's not everything that we want, but it is a gigantic step forward because it federalizes marriage. It probably takes marriage off the table in the Supreme Court, probably forever, let's hope. It definitely modifies the Chief Justice that warned about reevaluation. This law, even in its limitations, probably takes that off the table for him. So it's a step in the right direction. It is not the Equality Act.
Right.
The Equality Act is still needed, but for marriage protection in the states that legalize marriage, which are going to be a substantial number of American states, 70 to 80% approval of gay marriage in America, this is a gigantic moment of legislative history for the LGBTQ.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, a lot of us were very, very concerned about what was going to happen to marriage equality. So, I mean, there certainly are still a lot of challenges that we're facing and a lot of battles to fight, but it's assuring to know that the movement is in the direction of the right and the just.
So, you know, I have questions, boys, because, you know, I don't know anything about this politics stuff. Why Raphael what is his name? Warnock. Why was he allowed to not vote?
Well, if you're not in the chambers, you can't vote. So
that's the disappointing part, though.
It is.
I feel like
he's out campaigning, so
which is that's the disappointment, that you're more concerned about your upcoming campaign. I mean, even if you know you have it in the bag, you still should show up just so that the numbers are there in history. You know what I mean?
Man, saying nothing is just like saying no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there could be some other reason that we don't know about, but just off the top of my head, I would guess.
I'm curious. I know it's a guess on your part, but you have lots of deep political experience. What would you guess happened in Warnock?
I'm probably going to guess, that he's, you know, and I'm not on the campaign side, but I'm going to guess it was a scheduling issue. I mean, it's not an in-the-bag race until the race is, all the votes are counted.
Yeah.
So the turnout's been great. I know the first day it was record turnout in Georgia as far as votes counted, but You know, that's a race that's got to be won.
Yeah.
And
Warnock
so
not
that
voting is
commitment's important.
disappointing.
It
I
is.
have to say,
Right?
especially
be on the post.
right. It needed 60, and we got 61. Warnock's vote might have been really important. I'm curious about the Lady G reference in our story. What do you think about Graham?
I wonder what his wife thinks.
Well, I'm sure
He's
they.
married to an African American woman.
Lindsey Graham?
No,
Mitch McConnell's
Oh, Mitch McConnell. We're talking
wife.
about. Yeah.
He voted against it as well, right?
They didn't name him by name.
I don't remember.
But
Yes,
Lindsey-
he did.
did.
He did vote against it.
Yeah, he did vote.
Lindsey Graham, who knows what arrangement he and his wife have?
Oh.
I mean, we have no idea if it's something that's arranged.
True.
So,
Well,
but it's horrible that, you know, they say that some of the most homophobic people are,
Gay. Say it.
well,
Just gay.
that they're struggling because
Yeah, of
they're
course.
afraid.
Yeah.
But you know, some people that didn't struggle, those 11 Republicans that crossed those party lines and were
Yes,
like, you know
thank-
what? They
You know,
deserve these rights.
And it's
okay?
interesting that Faye, I think, is an outstanding moment, and just publicly from an LGBT media voice. Let's give Susan Collins some credit. She has been bashed and bashed and bashed. Difficult situation. Agree with her politics, disagree with her politics. She stayed with this every step of the way.
Right.
Her and Murkowski in Alaska. And this was, I'm sure, not a popular issue in Alaska. They stayed with it every step of the way. And they, of course, we think that they voted and sided with what was right.
Right.
But being right is not always is not always the conclusion. It's what's politically expedient. And so Collins stayed with us right till the very end and helped get it across the finish line. So we have to thank Susan Collins from Maine because she led.
You never thought you'd be
Murkowski.
thanking her, right?
I know,
You'd be
but
thanking
it's like,
her.
wow.
I also think some of them are really waking up, and 70% of the country supports this.
Yeah.
And even, you know, obviously millions of Republicans.
Yeah. And one
they see
final
that.
thought, as clear as that point is, and we got 61 votes, the reason why we should all, in my opinion, I won't even say all, the reason Al is very thankful of this vote today is the one place where the majority of people do not probably support it is the Supreme Court.
Right.
So if it got back to the court, we likely had big problems ahead.
Right.
So we can celebrate that victory. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.